Hello and welcome to Mini Masterclass Thursday. I am Sam. I am your host, and we are going to get right in here. I know it's been a minute. We actually missed, we actually missed our last one. So it has been a little while since we've been together. So we are going to bring you the summertime strategies for your business and tax savings episode today. So thank you for joining us. Whether this is your first time or you come back and watch our replays or join us live, we really appreciate you watching, sharing, commenting. It's been great. So what we do is every second and fourth Thursday of the month, we bring you business help in some way or another, topics and subjects that are relatable for every business to take advantage of if you're a small business. So today's topic is going to be summertime business strategies. I do have my notes over here, so I'll be looking down and looking at those, but here we go. The reason I want to talk about this is there's a lot of things that we are going to do in the normal course of our day during the summer that we may be able to capitalize on some tax savings or some special programs already, but we didn't know. And if you wait until the end of the year to have found out that you could have taken advantage of these summertime things, you're less likely to be able to take advantage of the savings potential. So first and foremost, I need to say I am not a tax preparer. You should consult your tax preparer about any tax related savings. But this will lead you to prompt the conversation. Hey, I'm doing this, this, and this. Can we make sure we include that on my taxes? I also highly recommend one of my tips for you is to already be scheduling, excuse me, your end of the year or third quarter, I should say, tax planning appointment with your tax preparer. That's actually one of my notes. So the summer is when we all kind of like think think less about business, think less about strategy, think less about, operations because we're going and we're doing and we're getting outside and we're kind of calming down from schools getting out and all the things happening. But you really want to take advantage of the slower season for your tax preparer to be able to help you and maximize the potential deductions. Like there is no time slower than the summer for tax preparers. There may not be as times busier for you because of all the other things in your life that you have going on, but you really want to maximize that potential. So my first tip is going to be start now. It's June 12th. Start calling and reaching out to your tax preparer for a tax planning meeting to review what you've done in Q1 and Q2, so that you can put things in place during Q3 and Q4. All right, so going on from there, cash flow. Some businesses are seasonal and they are up during the summer, and some businesses are seasonal and they're way down during the summer. So, in other episodes, we've talked about budgeting strategies and cash flow strategies. You want to really understand this year, if you've never done it, what does your summer cash look like? Do you dip or do you go up? Now you have the tools to budget properly and project properly into the next year and next quarters and understand what cash reserves you're going to need to keep. Maybe if you're going up, you need to set aside that cash so that when you're down in fall or winter, you have the cash to do the things you need to do to maintain your budget. So, really understanding your cash flow during the summer is going to help you this year and next. Now, if you're really down during the summer, you now know for next year that during the spring or winter, if you're up in those seasons, you need to reserve that money to cover your summer dip, right? And we want to make sure we're always looking ahead at what our spend is going to be for sure, what types of conferences, project work, other things, new lines of service that we want to bring in, and when is a good time for us to do that, that we can actually afford it, rather than saying, I want to launch a brand new product in summer, and summer's your least revenue generating 3 months of the year. That's probably not going to work out for you unless you've planned ahead. Okay, next we have, temporary staffing and summer projects could be something that you might want to think about. You might be able to kind of, if it's slow for you, um, uh, compared to normal, maybe you're a type of business where you could bring in some temporary help and get projects knocked out. Institute new softwares, go through some training programs, take advantage of your downtime, whether or not hopefully you've planned for it enough where you can still spend the money on these. Take advantage of the downtime you have to clean up your books if you're on extension from 2024. Implement new softwares that require training, implement the training, convert anything from old systems into new systems, find more efficient ways to do things because now you have the capacity to be able to think outside the box when it comes to your operations, your day-to-day workflows, your SOPs. Actually make your SOPs, start assigning tasks to people who normally don't have the capacity, but they're still their payroll check is still in the budget. And now you can take advantage of kind of a summertime lull to hopefully you have a lull, meaning not that your business is in a lull, but you have more capacity and you're fine from a revenue standpoint. Now, if summer is when you're going off and things are crazy, you want to flip that. You want to do those things during the winter in preparation for the summer. So obviously we're talking about ramp ups with summer because some businesses are ramping up in the summer, but others are slowing down. So whichever way yours is going, you need to start now while we're in it, planning for the next one. Now that you have the information of what your business is doing and maybe what it's done historically. So maybe you've not actually budgeted and you've not actually done a cash flow projection analysis, but you have data from the prior years as long as you've been keeping your record keeping up. Start now planning for next year. Don't wait until you're in your busier season or that when you are out of vacation mode. Keep that in line of sight for yourself and for your business because as you're doing that, that's going to affect how you plan with the rest of the year. When you're planning for summer, it affects how you plan for winter and how you plan for spring. So you thinking ahead is also going to actually help you in these upcoming months and quarters to plan appropriately, budget appropriately. And that might be not something you've looked at before. There's a couple tax strategies that are very specific to something activities that might happen during the summer. They could happen all year long, by the way, but these just happen to be summertime-ish activities that you may not know about. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the Augusta rule. It's one of my very, very favorite tax strategies. The Augusta rule allows you to, for up to 14 days a year, rent out your personal home as a business event location or venue. So that could be hosting events, throwing staff parties, having meetups from an organization, hosting seminars. Maybe you have a bigger space and you can host seminars, housing people who work for you that are working remotely or from other areas, hosting maybe a mid-year retreat for your employees. All of these are types of things that you can do with your business, and it is a giant tax strategy. So here's how. First and foremost, you want to call around and you want to get pricing on what it would cost you to rent a room in a hotel, to rent 5 rooms in a hotel, to rent the ballroom, to rent a venue space that's specifically meant for these types of activities. Call around, get a general idea. You don't want to overcharge your business because it's your house, right? You want to be and then you want to save that documentation because you want to be able to show in an audit where you came up with the value of what you were providing. That will be asked of you if you are audited and have taken advantage of the Augusta rule. Your tax preparer should also be asking you for this, but we all know that sometimes that doesn't happen. So I'm preparing you because the burden of proof is always back on the owner, period. So you're going to call around, you're going to get that number. Let's just say it's $1,000 a day. And okay, so for 5 days, that's $5,000 that it would cost me to rent this space or rooms or whatever it is. Now, what would it cost me to cater to this event? Maybe that space makes you buy their catering or sign up for their catering and their staff, their wait staff, and that's included in their proposal. So it's an extra $3,000 for those 5 days for food and beverages. Now you have an $8,000 budget range that you're working with. You can then turn around, provide that same event in your home. Your business pays you for the rental of your home for that event, and you get to personally keep the $8,000 tax free for having held the business event in your home. So your business is getting a write-off, which lowers your taxable liability, but that money is going back into your own same pocket, and you are not paying taxes on that income. And you can do this for up to 14 days throughout the year. So summer might be a great time to have some sort of employee staff event, business event of some sort in your home. Again, consult your tax preparer about exactly what you're thinking and make sure that you have it all dialed in with the ticks and ties and the important details that you need to know. But hey, there you go. You might save yourself either during the summer and or the course of the year a lot of money in taxes because you didn't have to pay it on the rental of your home. I'm going through my notes. I'm going through my notes. Sorry. Charitable contributions. This might be a great time for you to take a look at your budget and understand some charitable contributions that you can make in the summer. I also want to mention that if you're still on extension for 2024, you can still, up until the extension deadline, deposit into your SEP IRA. So if you have a SEP IRA or SEP retirement account, you can still contribute for 2024. I know that really isn't a summer time activity, but as soon as summer's over, so if you think about it, August, summer's over, we're going into September. September is the extension deadline. You want to have your SEP IRA contributions made by then. If you're looking to make capital improvements, so maybe summertime you're going to improve your office or improve your home, and then you have a home office. These are this the time of year where people start kind of doing honeydews and home improvement projects. Maybe you do a capital investment in something that is out there that you haven't had time to really work on or focus on. Summertime could be a great time to take advantage of making those improvements, making those investments, and capitalizing on the tax savings. If you've had investments that are underperforming and others that are really doing well, you can look at what they call tax loss harvesting. This is where you can go ahead and get rid of those underperforming, sell off those underperforming tax investments and take the hit on those so it compensates for some of the other gains that you're making simultaneously and therefore lowers and reduces the taxable liability on your gains. So good time to kind of look at your portfolio and see what it is that you have out there, how it's doing, and maybe is this a good tax strategy? If you're doing really well, let's, help with the tax strategy on those payments. Your home office is a deduction all year long. You may choose during the summer to kind of do some updates around your home. So don't forget to separate and really specifically document any home office improvements that you may make, any new furniture that you buy for it, any window treatments, any new carpeting or wallpaper or paint or anything that you're going to do that's specific to your home office. Make sure you separate those as write-offs, different than the rest of your home so that you can claim those deductions as well. If you are in fact doing home improvements and or office renovations improvements, and you have the option to switch to utilities that are energy efficient, you may be able to take advantage of several tax deductions and credits that are out there when you switch to energy efficient utilities. So that's another tax strategy you can take advantage of. If you're already going to be doing those types of things in your home, you can take advantage of the tax strategy. In addition to that, there are some really great utility audit type tax investment strategies that you can take advantage of. If you're for large businesses that are doing a ton of utilities, there are utility audits you can do and have someone do for you where they go through all of your utilities and they start figuring out all the ways that you can take advantage of lowering your utilities and getting tax advantages for the utilities. So if you have a really large warehouse, if you have a really big building that you own, even if you're renting it out, you still have all of those utilities under your business name. Let's talk about maybe introducing you to someone who can take a look at auditing your utilities and getting you some significant tax savings. Those are out there, and that's all year long, not just the summer. If you are making summer bonuses, if your business is really on the rise during summer and you have extra cash, really think about maybe some investments into a retirement account that will allow you to keep that cash for yourself, tax free or tax deferred, so that you're not having to pay taxes on it if it's not necessary. We always are trying to see the ways we can legally and legitimately save as much of our own money in our pocket as possible. Now, I know it's really fun to go out and spend your money, and maybe you need to keep it because you need to hire, maybe you want to buy some new equipment. When you're doing your tax planning meetings, definitely bring up any equipment or purchases you're considering making, would like to make, or have to make by year end so that your tax planner can can give you the right guidance and if it's a good purchase to make, how you should make it, should you lease it, so should you purchase it, so should you purchase cash and use up your cash reserve or not. There's all kinds of things to consider when making those larger purchases, so make sure you're talking about that. There are child dependent care tax credits. So if this is this time of year where you now have to pay for childcare because your kid is not in school anymore and maybe you have to work during the day and you can't necessarily have them with you at all times, you could be able to take advantage of the child and dependent care credit. And just make sure you're letting your tax preparer know and that you have these costs because they don't always ask. And if you don't tell them, they're not going to know automatically. So in addition to other tax or child related tax credits, there is a child care credit that you could be taking advantage of. Same with summer camps. A lot of people send their kids to summer camps. Ask your tax preparer if the summer camp that you're sending your kid to may be eligible for a tax credit, or that you may be eligible for a tax credit because you participated in this camp. You could get some of your money back that way. And of course, that's not through your business necessarily, but it's just a summertime tax strategy so that when you're doing your financials and everything, you know how to appropriately talk to your tax preparer about that. I saw a thumbs up, so thank you. I actually don't see who else is in this meeting. I'm not sure if that's a setting, but hello out there, whoever you are, and thank you for joining us. Conferences and workshops, especially in the accounting industry. I don't know about other industries, but I know the accounting industry, summer and early fall are like conference after conference after conference after conference because it happens to be the slowest time of the year for, especially if you're a tax preparer. And that's all you do is taxes because yes, you have extension tax work, but the bulk of your taxes are at the end and the beginning of the year. So we can easily plan ahead for next year and see, we want to go to a conference A, B, and C, and we have to know how to budget, or D and E even. There's people that go to every single one. I don't know how they do it. because it's exhausting, but they do. So maybe take a look at for your industry, what's going on during the summer, what kinds of spend can you take advantage of? Hopefully you've budgeted for it appropriately, but and then send your employees, get your continuing education, go take conference that's in, I don't know, Hawaii, do the conference. I'm saying do the conference, but then you're in Hawaii. You have the business right up of the conference, but you can take advantage of being somewhere else because it's summertime as well. You can't write off all your family stuff and things like that, but you can write off part of it as a legitimate business expense and give yourself the opportunity to get out and do a little sightseeing, a little souvenir shopping, a little traveling outside of work. Take advantage of the double dip there. You get to go to a conference, have a write off, and take your family out if possible, or just go by yourself because you really just need to go by yourself and get away. Which sometimes I do. I'm in a hotel right now and I love my quiet alone time in my hotel. So, anyways, that's another tax planning strategy that you could take advantage of as well. So those are the basics that I had for us today. Of course, this is also a great time to look at your budget. How are you doing on budget to actuals? Did you actually budget for 2025? Maybe you didn't. There's nothing wrong with starting halfway through the year, starting now in June. Let's budget how I want the rest of the year to go. Maybe you can take advantage of some promos. Like maybe you throw out a summertime promo to try to get leads in while you're kind of in a lower pace, or maybe you don't need that because you're maxing yourself out, but take advantage of summer to get your winter promos ready so that you understand what kind of work you need to do to get to keep business going through the fall and the winter. So your marketing numbers, the kinds of clients you're bringing in, where are they? Where do you need to market? What campaigns do you need to run? You might want to launch a new product, or maybe think now about a new product that you could launch, or a new line of service that you could launch. If you have downtime, or if things are kind of flatlined where it's not like craziness, you have that capacity, you can take advantage of that opportunity as well. But definitely looking at your reports, you should hopefully be looking at your reports on a monthly basis, at minimum quarterly. So now your Q2 is almost over. We want to be well aware of how the business is doing thus far for tax planning reasons, for strategy, for business pivots and moves. You may need to kind of course correct on some things if it's not going great. Maybe because it's going so much better than expected, you can hire someone to run a division. You can take some more things off of your plate. You can delegate tasks now to people on the team, and you go out and do what you love more, get more business, build more things, whatever it is, to make the business better. So all of that information is in your numbers. So the number one, I said my first tip was, but I'm going to say now my number one tip is look at your numbers. Every month, every quarter, do it. I promise you'll have so much better results in getting from where you are to where you want to go if you actually know your numbers. That doesn't mean they're going to be pretty, and it doesn't mean you're going to love what you see, but then you have the knowledge of doing something about it and changing the things that you need to change, whether it's hiring, firing, marketing, getting rid of service lines, adding service lines, uh, budgeting. And so you can start analyzing the budgets to actuals, all of that. So that's it for me today on Mini Masterclass. We also, our last Mini Masterclass talked about credit card reward points and capitalizing on that during your summer travel. That's also a great summertime strategy. So if you missed that episode, go back and rewatch it. It's actually our second one because there's some updated information and strategies in that one. So there's two on our YouTube channel or wherever you're finding us. We appreciate you watching, and we will see you again in 2 weeks for the next mini masterclass. Everybody have a fabulous rest of your week. Happy summering. I hope it's going great so far, and we'll see you then.